65,000 people. One stadium. One moment. And when Jimin walked out on that stage on May 27, 2026, nobody was talking about the set list. Nobody was talking about the lights. Nobody was talking about anything else. Because Jimin had changed his hair. And somehow, that single detail broke the entire internet before he even sang a word. Jimin's Braids trended at #1 across the United States on X within minutes of the concert starting. Fan cam videos crossed 1 million views before the night was over. And people who had never heard a single BTS song in their lives were suddenly asking, "Who is this man, and why does he look like that?" But here's the thing that nobody is asking, and that we're going to answer today. Jimin has changed his hair more times than most artists change their entire image. Black, silver, pink, bleach blonde, long short, tousled, sleek. He has done it all. So why, out of every single hair moment in his entire career, did the braids hit differently? Why did this specific look, on this specific night, become one of the most talked about visual moments of the entire Arirang World Tour? Stay with us, because the answer is not what you think. And if you want to see just how far back the story goes, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because we are about to take you through something extraordinary. Let's go back to May 27th, 2026. Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas. BTS had already played 2 sold-out nights at the same venue, May 23rd and May 24th. The energy in the city was already insane. Fan trucks covered in Jimin's face were driving through Las Vegas streets before the shows even began. US fans had organized ad campaigns. The entire city felt like it had been taken over. But night 3 was different. When Jimin appeared on that stage, fans immediately noticed something had changed. Gone was the signature long, flowing blonde hair that had defined his look throughout the early Arirang tour stops, from Goyang Stadium in Korea, to Tokyo Dome in Japan, to Tampa, El Paso, Mexico City, and Stanford Stadium. In its place, blonde hair, braided, pulled up, styled with a precision that immediately sent thousands of cameras pointing in one direction. According to Star News Korea, who covered the Las Vegas concerts in detail, Jimin debuted this new braided and tied style specifically on May 27th, day 3 of the Las Vegas run. And within minutes of the concert beginning, the hashtag Jimin's rose to #1 on USX in real time, appearing simultaneously in the music, dance, and celebrity trending categories. All 3, at the same time, just because he changed his hair. During the body-to-body freestyle dance segment, already one of the most anticipated moments of every Arirang tour concert, Jimin executed a 2-spin sequence followed by what fans described as a sensual, fluid groove that had the crowd in complete chaos. And every single fan cam that captured it did so with the braids fully in frame, catching the light, moving with every turn. The visuals were undeniable. And then a TikTok happened. You might have seen it. A clip of Jimin noticing a female security guard trying to stay professional near the stage, and then smiling directly at her while continuing to perform. The guard, visibly trying not to react, became the face of every single person who has ever tried to stay composed while Jimin exists in the same space as them. That TikTok video, it racked up over 69 million views and 9 million likes within 5 days of the concert. 69 million. With the braids front and center the entire time. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, this is impressive, but Jimin has done wild things before. His hair has caused trending moments before. Why is this specific moment the one that stands out? To answer that, we need to talk about history. If you've followed Jimin for any length of time, you already know, his hair is never an accident. Every era, every comeback, every major tour stop, Jimin's hair has always been a deliberate, intentional visual statement. Let's take a quick walk through the timeline. Early career Jimin, the black hair, the sharp undercut, the clean idol look. He was precise. He was polished. He was the boy next door who could somehow make your entire nervous system malfunction on a concert stage. Then came the colors. Orange, red, the iconic silver pink of the blood, sweat, and tears era, which many armies and hair historians still call his single most iconic look. That lavender to silver gradient, paired with the dark concept of the Wings album, created a version of Jimin that felt genuinely otherworldly. He looked like he had stepped out of a painting. The DNA era gave us wavy blonde. The Spring Day era gave a soft, fuzzy pink that somehow made him look simultaneously ethereal and devastating. The Idol era brought a sleek new cut that carried him into the 2018 MMA performance, widely considered one of the greatest single-artist live moments in K-pop history. Then there was the Permission to Dance era blonde. Warm, golden, sun-kissed. It felt lighter, more free. And then Jimin went solo, and his hair went somewhere new entirely. In October 2023, at his special talk event ahead of his enlistment, he unveiled full blonde for the first time in that specific shade. Fans described it as a declaration of something, a new chapter starting just before he had to step away. He enlisted, the hair was gone from the public eye. Then came June 2025, discharge, and almost immediately, a return to blonde. The Moon Party Seoul in September 2025 confirmed it. Jimin was back, he was blonde, and the world reacted like it was the first time all over again. The term Blonde Jimin shot to global trend number 27 within hours. By the time the Era tour kicked off in early 2026, Jimin had settled into what fans quickly dubbed the Blonde Jimin era. Long, flowing, past shoulder-length hair that grew noticeably longer with each tour stop. Tokyo Dome in April 2026 gave us Rapunzelman. Fans watched his hair extend to his upper back over weeks of touring. And then Las Vegas Night 3. May 27th, 2026. He took all of that hair, and he braided it. Here is the core question we promised to answer. Why did this hair moment, out of every hair moment in Jimin's career, generate the reaction it did? Because of expectation. When you've watched someone enough, when you've followed every era, memorized every comeback look, seen every airport photo, you develop a version of them in your head. A baseline, a default image that your brain summons when you hear their name. For most people following the Era tour, Jimin's baseline was long, blonde, flowing. That was the image. That was the expectation that 65,000 people carried into Allegiant Stadium on May 27th. And when he walked out, the hair was still blonde. But it wasn't flowing anymore. It was structured, elevated, controlled. It was the same ingredient, arranged in a way nobody expected. That gap between expectation and reality, that is the precise mechanism of a viral moment. It's not about doing something entirely new. It's about taking something familiar and making it land differently. Jimin knows this. He has always known this. Think about every major Jimin visual moment that has broken through to mainstream audiences. The silver hair wasn't just a color. It was paired with the most conceptually dark album BTS had released at that point. The long blonde wasn't just length. It was debuted in the context of a post-military return that the entire fandom had been waiting for over a year and a half. The braids weren't just a hairstyle. They were debuted at night 3 of a 4-night Las Vegas run, when the energy was at its absolute peak, during a freestyle dance segment that already had every camera in the stadium at maximum attention. Context isn't just background. Context is the amplifier. And Jimin, whether consciously or instinctively, has always understood how to place a visual moment inside the right context to make it resonate at maximum volume. Let's talk about what actually happened on the platforms after May 27th, because the numbers tell a story that words alone can't capture. Jimin's Braids trending at number 1 on USX, not just in the music category, not just in the celebrity category, in the music, dance, and celebrity categories simultaneously. That cross-category trending is unusual. It means the moment was resonating with people who care about music, people who care about performance, and people who simply care about visuals and celebrity culture. 3 different audiences, 1 moment. Fan cam footage crossing 1 million views before the night was over. This is significant because Las Vegas Night 3 was a Wednesday. This was not a weekend. People were watching fan cams of Jimin's hair on a Wednesday night in America in the middle of the week, in numbers that most artists would consider extraordinary for a planned release. And then the TikTok. 69 million views. 9 million likes. In 5 days. On a clip that wasn't even the concert, it was a spontaneous interaction between Jimin and a security guard. The braids were incidental to the moment, but they were in every frame. They moved with him. They became part of the visual language of a moment that 69 million people experienced. That is not a coincidence. That is not just luck. The May 2026 Idol Personal Brand Reputation Index, analyzed by the Korea Corporate Reputation Research Institute across 166 million pieces of big data, placed Jimin at number 1. The keyword analysis specifically flagged intense, explosive, and gorgeous as the dominant associations with his brand during this period. The positive sentiment ratio reached 93.02%. 93% positive across 166 million data points during the same period as the braids. The data says, this hit differently. And the data is right. Before we close, we need to talk about what happened the following night. Because this is the part that puts everything in context. May 28th, 2026, Las Vegas Night 4. The final night of the Las Vegas run. Jimin was sick. He had a cold. Now, most artists, under those conditions, would have scaled back their stage coverage. Most performers would have stayed close to the main stage, conserved energy, minimized movement. Jimin moved to the end of the 360-degree protruding stage, the furthest point from the main platform, the point that required the most effort to reach, the point that maximized his distance from any shelter, and performed there. He was also seen going out of his way to make eye contact with fans in different sections, taking care of them, as Star News Korea described it, making sure that even fans who were far from the main stage felt seen. Sick, still there, still moving toward the fans, not away. And the hair, still braided on night 3. A different style on night 4, because Jimin does not repeat himself. This is why the braids hit differently. Not just because they were visually stunning, but because they were part of an overall presence, a night-by-night, show-by-show commitment to giving people something to remember that extends far beyond a hairstyle choice. The braids were memorable because Jimin is memorable. The moment landed because the person creating the moment has spent his entire career learning exactly how to make moments land. Here's what we know. The Arirang World Tour is nowhere near over. After Las Vegas, BTS is heading back to South Korea for concerts at Busan Asian Main Stadium in June 2026. Then the tour continues its global run across Europe, Asia, and back to North America with over 80 dates in more than 34 cities worldwide. And in July 2026, BTS has been confirmed for the halftime show of the 2026 FIFA World Cup final alongside Madonna and Shakira at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. The first ever halftime show in FIFA World Cup final history. BTS, on that stage, in front of a global live audience of billions. Which means there are still dozens of opportunities for Jimin to do what he just did in Las Vegas. To take something unexpected, place it in the right context, and let the internet lose its mind all over again. Will he change his hair again? Will the braids return? Will something completely new appear at Busan? Or at the World Cup final? Nobody knows. And that uncertainty, that sense that with Jimin, you genuinely never know what's coming next, is part of what makes following this era so electric. What we do know is this. When it happens, we'll be here to break it down. So, the braids. Were they just a hairstyle? You already know the answer. Nothing Jimin does on a stage is just anything. Every element, the hair, the freestyle, the eye contact with the security guard, the decision to push through to the farthest point of the stage on a sick night, is part of a performance language that he has been building and refining for over a decade. The braids hit differently because Jimin hit differently. That night, on that stage, in that city, he was operating at a level that very few performers in the world can reach. And we got to watch it happen. If this video brought you something, a new perspective, a new appreciation, or just the simple joy of reliving a moment that deserved to be relived, then do us one favor. Hit the like button, leave a comment telling us which JiminHair era is your personal favorite, and subscribe if you haven't yet. We cover Jimin, BTS, and the Arirang World Tour with the detail and accuracy the story deserves, every single week. And there is a lot more story left to tell. We'll see you in the next one. Stay with Jimin. Stay with ARMY. Always.